After death, you may find yourself in a training center. Now, theoretically, this center could be in the middle of your present living room, in physical space. But the distance between you and the members of your family still living, sitting perhaps thinking of you or reading a paper, would have nothing to do with space as you know it. You would be more separated from them than if you were, say, on the moon. You could perhaps change your own focus of attention away from the center and theoretically see the room and its inhabitants, and yet still this distance that has nothing to do with miles would be between you. Now I'm going on to the next chapter, and by the way, I'm reading this online. It's a book that's online. Seth Speaks, and also there's two other of Seth's books that I'm going to read also. But if you want to read them for yourself, it's very easy to do, and let me know. I'll tell you the website. Or maybe I'll just put it in the little side thing so you can know where to go. So the next chapter is called Chapter 10, Death Conditions in Life. After death experiences will not seem so alien or incomprehensible if you realize that you encounter similar situations as a normal part of your present existence. In sleep and dream states, you are involved in the same dimension of existence in which you will have your after-death experiences. You do not remember the most important part of these nightly adventures, and so those you do recall seem bizarre or chaotic as a rule. This is simply because in your present state of development you are not able to manipulate consciously within more than one environment. You do exist consciously in a coherent, purposeful, creative state while the physical body sleeps, however, and you carry on many of the activities that I told you would be encountered after death. You simply turn the main focus of your attention in a different dimension of activity, one in which you have indeed continuously operated. Now, as you have memory of your waking life, and as you retain a large body of such memory for daily physical encounters, and as this fount of memory provides you with a sense of daily continuity, so also does your dreaming self have an equally large body of memory. As there is continuity to your daily life, so there is continuity in your sleeping life. A portion of you, therefore, is aware of each and every dream encounter and experience. Dreams are no more hallucinatory than your physical life is. Your waking physical self is the dreamer, as far as your dreaming self is concerned. You are the dreamer it sends on its way. Your daily experiences are the dreams that it dreams. So when you look at your dreaming self or consider it, you do so with a highly prejudiced eye, taking it for granted that your reality is real and its reality is illusion. Its reality is far more native to your being, however. If you do not find coherence in the dream state, it is because you have hypnotized yourself into believing that none exist. Of course, you try to translate your nightly adventures into physical terms upon awakening, and attempt to fit them into your often limited distortion of the nature of reality. To some extent this is natural. You are focused in a daily life for a reason. You have adopted it as a challenge. But within this framework, you are also meant to grow and develop, and to extend the limits of your consciousness. It is very difficult to admit that you are in many ways more effective and creative in the sleep state than the waking state, and somewhat shattering to admit that the dream body can indeed fly, defying both time and space. It is much easier to pretend that all such experiences are symbolic and not literal, to evolve complicated psychological theories, for example, to explain flying dreams. The simple fact is that when you dream you are flying, you often are. In the dream state you operate under the same conditions, more or less, that are native to a consciousness not focused in physical reality. Many of your experiences, therefore, are precisely those you may meet after death. You may speak with dead friends or relatives, revisit the past, greet old classmates, walk down streets that existed 50 years earlier in physical time, travel through space without taking any physical time to do so, be met by guides, be instructed, teach others, perform meaningful work, solve problems, hallucinate. In physical life, there is a lag between the conception of an ideal and its physical construction. In dream reality, this is not so. Therefore, the best way to become acquainted with after-death reality ahead of time, so to speak, is to explore and understand the nature of your own dreaming self. Not very many people want to take the time or energy. The methods are available, however, and those who do use them will not find themselves alienated when the full focus of their attention is turned in that direction after death. Since your conscious memory is connected so strongly with awareness within the body, although you leave the body when it sleeps, the waking consciousness usually has no memory of this. In the sleeping state, you have memory of everyone you have ever met in your dreams. Though you may or may not have met some of these people in your daytime existence, in the sleeping state, you may have constant experience through the years with close associates who may live in another portion of the world entirely and be strangers to you in the waking state. As your daily endeavors have meaning and purpose, so do your dream adventures, and in these also you attain various goals of your own. These you will continue in the after-death experience. The vitality force, life, and creativity behind your physical existence is generated in this other dimension. In other words, you are in many ways a fleshly projection of your dreaming self. The dreaming self, as you conceive of it, however, is but a shadow of its own reality, for the dreaming self is a psychological point of reference, and in your terms of continuity, that brings together all portions of your identity. Of its deeper nature, only the most developed are aware. It represents, in other words, one strong, uniting facet of your entire identity. Its experiences are as vivid and its personality as rich, in fact richer, in contacts as the physical personality you know. Pretend for a moment that you are a child and I am trying to undertake the particular chore of explaining to you what your most developed adult self will be like, and in my explanation I say that this adult self is to some extent already a part of you, an outgrowth or projection of what you are, and the child says, "But what will happen to me? Must I die to become this other self? I do not want to change. How can I ever be this adult self when it is not what I am now, without dying as what I am?" I am in somewhat the same position when I try to explain to you the nature of this inner self, for while you can become aware of it in dreams, you cannot truly appreciate its maturity or abilities, yet they are yours in the same way that the man's ability belonged to the child. In the dream state you learn, among other things, how to construct your own physical reality day by day, just as after death you learn how to construct your next physical lifetime. In dreams you solve the problems. In the daytime you are consciously aware of the methods of problem solving that you learned in sleep. In dreams you set your goals, as after death you set the goals for another incarnation. Now, no psychological structure is easy to describe in words. Simply to explain the nature of personality as it is generally known, all kinds of terms are used. Subconscious, ego, superego, all of these to differentiate the interweaving actions that make up the physical personality. The dreaming self is just as complicated, so you can say that certain portions of it deal with physical reality, physical manipulation and plans, some with deeper levels of creativity and achievement that ensure physical survival, some with communication with even more extensive elements of the personality now generally unknown, some with the continuing experience and existence of what you may call the soul or overall individual entity, the true multidimensional self,